Good afternoon. My name's Helen Byram from Buzz Safety, and this is.
I'm Yvette Whitwam from Beanstalk HR.
So, as two ladies running our own businesses, Yvette and I are doing a number of recordings, sharing our thoughts, our experiences, challenges, and just professional information. And today, Yvette, you want to talk about neutral human resource assessments.
I do.
Okay, so my first question is going to be, what are neutral human resource assessments? I've never heard of them.
So it's kind of what it says on the tin. It's having a neutral, independent person to come into your organisation and make an assessment of various people processes. It might be that you're going through a big organisational change, or it might be that you want to look at your recruitment processes or your absence management processes, or there might be some individual issues that you want to tackle. So it's an all-encompassing way of saying basically the things that come under HR. Someone that's not in the business, hasn't got a vested interest in the business, comes in and gives you some advice, an assessment, a fresh pair of eyes, makes some recommendations and helps you to input them if you need to.
Okay.
Implement, not input.
Implement. So what made you want to do this? Why is doing these of interest to you?
So I've got a long and varied career in HR, in generalist HR and HR management. And an aspect of it that I love is the employee relations work. So with the neutral assessments, a lot of it is about speaking to employees and getting that confidential feedback from the employees to help you inform the suggestions that you're making about changes. And I've got a lot of experience in that, in terms of that more softer side of employee relations, that employee participation. I've got some of the harder skills, if you like, in terms of done many investigations, grievances, disciplinaries, etc. I've done a lot of change management. I'm mediation qualified. And as well as all my skills in employee relations, I've got a good background in strategic HR and operational HR, so I can meld the two. And it's just something that I love doing. And it's something that has naturally come to me as I've been progressing Beanstalk. I've had people coming to me with issues, can you come into our organisation and assess, we've had a complaint about a recruitment process from a person that's an applicant, is the word. Can you look at our process? Can you give us an impartial kind of, this is what you should have done, perhaps this is what you could do in future, type of thing.
Okay. So what's the process then? Well, how does a client initiate this?
So they come to me and they give me, we have a bit of a chat about what it is that they're wanting to look at, and then we agree some formal objectives and some kind of terms of reference. I'm not going off on a tangent looking at things that they're not concerned with. And then I start information gathering. So that might be as simple as getting some data from them and their policies, and then speaking to people in person, employees and management, or doing surveys. Usually it'd be completely confidential. So obviously you maintain that trust and that independent status, if you like. Go about, identifying key issues, and with my HR knowledge, making some recommendations about, how to kind of digging into the underlying causes of things and the key relationships, and then just sort of sense testing solutions as well. So you might say, okay, here's some ideas, go back to the leadership team and say, how will this work in practice? Perhaps go back to employees for some feedback on how those things would work, to try and get the best solutions for everybody, really.
So you've already touched to some degree on some of the benefits, but what is the big benefit to an organisation of having gone through a process like this?
So there are a couple, really. I think a big benefit is that employee relations kind of aspect, that if you're bringing someone in who is, and it's a lot of the principles are like mediation. The person that's doing this assessment needs to really be believably impartial. So it'll only work if the organisation takes that on board and isn't trying to kind of push the assessor down a route of telling them what they want to hear.
Yes.
So it works on a level that, first of all, you're collaborating with employees at all levels and leadership. You're creating those trusting relationships because, you know, people are feeling empowered to have a say. You're not looking for blame. So that's a big part of it, is not looking to place blame. And you're future focused. You're looking on future solutions, not past whatever's happened here. So there are lots of benefits. But yeah, those are some of the main ones.
Okay. So are there any particular kinds of organisations that this will be of benefit to, or is it something that will work for any organisation?
I would say there are, probably would work for most organisations, will work better where the organisational culture is kind of accepting of that, you know, that involvement of employees. However, it's a good measure of where you're at with that. So if you wanted to make improvements to that because you'd feel like you're not there with your employee involvement and engagement, then it's a good way to get some suggestions to move forward. But I'd say there are lots of different scenarios really where you might use it. So where you've gone through a period of organisational change, so either leading up to it or in the middle of it or at the end of it, to assess how it's gone. If you've gone through a crisis, so not necessarily an organisational crisis, but for example, you know, after a pandemic, a lot of people did these kind of assessments on how the workplace had handled it. If you've experienced any reputational damage and you want to see how your employees are feeling about it, identifying causes of poor people performance measures, so, you know, attendance, turnover, things like that. If you've got an issue, looking at what that might be. Ensuring your people strategies are fit for the future. So loads of different applications really. And you can do it on a regular basis as a kind of temperature check.
I was going to ask you if it was a regular thing or if it tended to be of a more one-off.
I mean, mostly I've been asked to do one-off work, but I think I'll put together a model where you can tailor it to be a more regular temperature check, because I think, and it's, you know, it kind of comes down to it's a bit of an extension on the employee engagement survey, isn't it? It's just a bit more in depth than that.
I was just thinking it fits in nicely with that continuous improvement cycle that we talk about a lot in ISO management standards and health and safety, the Plan, Do, Check, Act, and obviously it's a key component of the check.
That's right. Yeah.
Brilliant. So if somebody decides that this sounds like a process that's right for their organisation, it's something that they would like to do, what's the best way for them to kickstart the process?
Just get in touch with me. So my email and my phone number are on my website, which is beanstalkhr.com. And we can have a chat. We can arrange a free chat, and you can tell me what your needs are, and I can get a clear picture of what it is that I think you need, and hopefully we then can agree on some objectives.
Fantastic, brilliant. Thank you, Yvette.
Thank you very much.